All right. We are live. I am Chris Featherstone. I'm with my buddy, man. This guy is a blessing from God in my life. I know that's for sure. I'm sure that his wife could say the same, and his children, and a lot of close friends of his can say the same thing. Man, I've known him for I don't know, man. It's been probably about oh goodness, but I think I brought him here.
Oh,
I think
five.
like in 2012, wasn't it? Because I think my wife was pregnant with our first
Nah,
kid.
it was before that.
Yeah, my wife was pregnant with our first kid, and he's 7 now. He just turned 7 in September. So I
Oh,
think, yeah. So it was. I think it was 2012. Yeah. So
wow.
that was 7 years ago. But I mean, I knew you probably about a year before that, year or two before that.
Hmm.
So yeah, he is a two-time Dove Award winner. I think you're a Stella in a Grammy nominee too, right?
I think we won a Stellar or so and a Grammy nomination. Yeah, but I don't
Wow.
remember. That's been so long ago. I don't remember any of that stuff.
Well, I appreciate your humble approach, man. But saying a two-time Dove Award, a Stellar Award winner, a Grammy nominee. I mean, that's something to really be really excited about, man. And I appreciate your humble approach to it. Antonio Neal, how are you tonight, my brother?
Hanging out. Just got back from eating lunch with my greedy wife and my greedy kids and all that, and just having fun. No, we just had a great time, and so just got back home, and I'm glad you hit me up.
Yeah.
I was slipping, man.
Slipping.
Yeah, I was gonna go to sleep on you.
Do the podcast live from your bed.
That's right, man. What's up, y'all?
Right, man. It's really a pleasure to finally do one of these with you, man. As
Yeah,
much as
first
we've
time.
talked, yeah, as much as we've talked over the years, and as much as you've encouraged me, and I've done the same for you, man. And
Mhm.
it's interesting that this long later we finally get to have one of these things from a podcast standpoint, man. And
Yeah,
I'm blessed to know
it's
you,
really
man.
awesome.
That's my. I'll start out right out the gate before we get into your production stuff, man. I just want to let you know that I'm blessed to know you, and I thank God for not only I've been promoting for 15 years. I've brought many national artists here, man. But
Yes, sir.
it was something here in Columbus, Ohio. But it was something about you, man, that just the Lord just kept our relationship going, man. And I'm blessed to call you a friend now, man. So thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Something that I've always wanted to do within the music, and I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he was talking to me about the new project, and he was talking about, am I going to get on the road and do stuff like that? And I said, yeah, I hope to. I said, because that's fun. He said, why is
Mhm.
that fun? I said, because of the people. And I said, most of the people that I've met along the way in the music industry, I still know most of them, and I still am in contact with, I would probably say, most of the people in some type of way or form, but I've been in their life, and they've been in my life 15, 20, 25 years, some of these people. Because
Yeah.
this year is my 20th year in the music ministry. And I just remembered that like 3 days ago, literally. I'm like, man, this is 20 years.
Wow.
And so
That's
God has blessed me with some wonderful people. I remember we were hanging out the last time we was with you guys. I think we were in Denny's or IHOP, right? Where were we at?
yeah,
Denny's, IHOP, or Steak
yeah,
and Shake, one of those. And we sat there that long with your wife and cracking jokes and everybody having fun.
yeah.
And I remember the venue you did. And even though I can say this, a lot of people didn't come out, but man, that was a fun night. The VIP, just how you had everything, it was just wonderful, man.
I
So
appreciate it.
I still think about coming up there. And even though I know it wasn't what you wanted to be, but the
Hmm.
relationships and the laughs and the memories and what I saw that you did for me, what I looked at myself as just, a little peon, I was just totally blown away, man.
I
And
appreciate it,
so I
man.
want to say that again 7 years later. Thank you.
Right, right. 7 years later, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting in the pod in not in pod, but in the promotion business.
Yeah,
It's really hit or miss, man. It's
right.
crazy because I've had 500 people, events. I've had for like the first probably 5 years of my promoting, I would average usually between like 200 and 400 people an event. And it was just so easy to just say, hey, this person's coming, throw a flyer out there, and then people, the whole place fill up. But it's crazy, man, because it's one of those things that it really fluctuates. And my good buddy George Chatters is on the chat room now. He knows too. He's a fellow Christian promoter here in Columbus, and we've had conversations before, man. That date in 2012, I was expecting like a big event, and it's just really one of those things. Like I'll expect, it was one time I had a mixer. I would have like monthly mixers. Well, I started around that time when I brought you in. I would just do a mixer. I wanted to do something for New Year's Eve. And so I had like a mixer. And I tell you what, bro, like I made a flyer like 3 days before the mixer, and the whole building was filled up. And I was like, it's just really a hit or miss type of thing, man.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't, I don't know, probably have 40 or 50 people there, but it wasn't what I expected. But at the same time, the memories from that event were certainly lasting. I mean, certainly lasting. And I really, I can never take that away. And we're here, 7 years later. So I appreciate that. So you got a new album. For those who watched the kind of promo video coming into the podcast tonight, they heard a little bit of your title song, which is Man of War. And just let us know just your vision behind the album, the title, and the songs. We'll go through a few of your albums too, especially the one that I started bumping in 2005, which is when I first got hip to you. But yeah, let's talk about Man of War, and what was the vision behind that?
Originally, I didn't have one. Originally, being a songwriter, I just write. I write songs. If the Lord gives me songs, sometimes my guitar sit up for 6 months. I don't touch it. I know it's weird. And then all of a sudden he may mess with me, and here I got 3, 4, 5 songs. And honestly, this project came along. I wasn't trying to do the project. I really was not trying. Man, I was actually kind of done with this whole music. I was kind of done with it. And my pastor, they were having a conference in Mackinac, Illinois, at this church, and he kept saying, "Man, you need to come to this conference." And I'm like, "I don't want to go to no conference." "You need to go to this conference, Antonio." "Man, I don't want to go. Y'all go to that conference. Man, I'll hold it down for it at home. Y'all get back. We cool." He just kept being persistent over and over and over again. "You need to come to this conference, Antonio." And finally, the last minute, when I say last minute, I relented and I said, "Okay, I'll go to the concert, man. I mean, I'll go to the conference with you." Went to the conference, did all that, and I'm sitting there like, I don't want to be here. I want to be home. I ain't gonna lie, I was. But I was there. And this brother I hadn't seen since Days of My Life came out. I went to their church and was there for a weekend, did some promotional stuff. And so this guy I hadn't seen in 12 years, because that's when Days of My Life came out in 2005. This guy made a beeline to me after the first service. I mean, beeline to me. And one of the first things this guy said to me, and I ain't saw this guy in 12, 13 years, and we was not friends. He was just an elder in his church. He came up to me and he said, "Why ain't you doing music anymore?" Elder. I ain't saw this man in 12, 13 years. He made a beeline to me after church. Wow. I'm standing there. He said, "Why aren't you recording anymore?"
Wow.
I'm standing there like, man, I'm retired, man. I'm just and he said, "Man, why aren't you recording anymore?" He just wouldn't he wouldn't leave. He wouldn't walk away. I'm trying to like get back from him, and he just like following me, like just like that. I'm like, I said, at the end of the day, man, I said, "I'm not with a label anymore, and all the money and all that, blah, blah, blah." He just looked at me and said, "How much you need?" And I told him, blah, approximately to get started. "Okay. Wow. You got it."
Wow.
"What do you mean? What do you mean?" He said, "Okay, okay. So you mean tell me if you just got that, you can do more music?" "Yes, sir." "Okay."
Wow.
He gave me his card, put it in my pocket. He said, "Call me when the conference is over with." Got home from the conference 2 weeks later, was checking the mail.
Wow. That's incredible, man.
And at the same conference,
Wow.
I was there. You know, I do filming and editing and other things too.
Yep.
So people don't know. So I kind of went. I'm still creative. So I do filming, commercials.
Yep.
I mean, I do a lot of stuff, man. Photography. I love that whole world. And so my pastor had me film some of the sessions. He was like, "Hey, can you come in and film some of the stuff and edit it and keep an archive of it?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. I'm here. I'll do some of that." And a brother was up there teaching a session, and the man was preaching, and he was preaching out of Exodus 15, and he went to Exodus 15:3, and I really wasn't paying attention. I'm looking at the camera, looking at everything. I'm not really paying attention other than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I heard him say, read the scripture. It says, "The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name." And that man of war hit me. I'm sitting there like, what did he just say?
Wow.
The Lord is a man of war. I said, man of war. I said, man, that's dope. I ain't never heard that scripture before. The Lord is a man of war. I was like, man, Didn't think nothing about it. It kind of hit me. I told him after the session was over, hey, Elder, I said, man, that's cool, man. I ain't never heard that before. I went to the scripture, Exodus 15:3. I said, man, that's fire. That's fire right there. We had a break in the conference, went back to where I was staying, and I had my guitar. I had some time. I was sitting in the rocking chair, literally in the rocking chair in this room, and I just heard it. And it just came to me.
Wow.
After that day, he's a man of war, the Lord. He's a man of war. He'll fight your battles while you sleep. Yeah. It just came.
Wow.
And I'm like, and then I just listened, man. And next thing I know, 15 minutes later, 5, 10, 15 minutes later, couldn't be no more than 15 minutes. Man, I pretty much most of the song.
Wow.
The guy just like downloaded it to me. I think I had the first verse and other things. Went back to the church, found the brother, told him what had happened. I said, man, that thing you was preaching on, man, I went back to the room tripping. Next thing I know, man, the second session started. They had me in front of the church with my guitar playing the song. I'm just like, man, don't do me like this in front of all these people. I just got the song. But, man, the people connected with it. It was crazy.
Your gift will make room for you, sir.
You know what I'm saying? It made room for me even if I didn't want to be in the room. And so, there I was singing this song that the Lord just gave me 45 minutes ago. I haven't even written it down. I mean, literally, it was all in my heart. Mm-hmm. And came back home, and I got with my guy Kirk Smith, my co-producer, and I had some other songs the Lord gave me, Pour, mm-hmm. and Jehovah, and I had Your Word already written, and it just kind of went from there. I found myself with these songs, and I was going in a whole other direction. I was going to do this whole tradition, like church thing, sit there, you know, and the Lord said, no. In my heart, I just feel like he said, no, don't go that direction. Go this direction. And I end up flipping the whole thing, and we have what we have now. Long story, but
no. I wanted the long story. That's good. I'm glad you shared. I have a little more
extra pieces of that, but we'll deal with that later.
Yeah. That was incredible, man. I didn't know that, and that was amazing, man. I really appreciate you sharing that, and what the Lord can tell someone else through that, you know, as far as just, you know, like you said, he'll fight your battles when you sleep, and just don't give up. And just, you know, there can be times, because you and I have talked, you know, many times, of just, you know, your discouragement of the industry as a whole. And we've went back and forth on that, as far as just, you know, man, just the industry as a whole, and just, you know, how discouraging it can be, you know. And it can get real discouraging. And, you know, I mean, you worked on the singing side and the producing side.
And for me, I never got into it for the industry. Like when I first got into music, I didn't know anything about an industry. Mm-hmm. And so really, if you had my mission statement when I first started music, it was, I wanted to connect with young brothers like myself, young married men, or young men with children who are in Christ, and who just wanted to have a conversation about this thing about being married and young and having children, and then turning around in this Jesus thing. And, you know, how do all this work? Because most of the songs and the things out there, you know, when we started doing music, and I started doing music in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was just all this just strictly Sunday morning type of stuff, you know what I mean? Yep. And so I just wanted to have a conversation with brothers about, just this life and this journey that I'm on. I never wanted to be in the industry. Even to this day, man, I don't want to be in the industry. I still don't want to be in the industry. I just still want to communicate. I'm not that 25-year-old married man or 22-year-old married man. I'm 46 now, but it's the same thing. It's the same heart. Like, God, I want to talk to people. It don't have to be men now. Like, I want to talk to people about this relationship now that I have with you, and how do I do that, and how do I communicate that? And I don't want to be a star, and I don't really want to do the dog and pony show. I just want to communicate my walk with Jesus. Amen. And during this whole time that I kind of been away, where people say that is what's been happening, real life, and now being brought back to, man, you know what? Jesus is my treasure, man. He's the thing that I've been looking for, and I always had it, and I was looking for all these other things, and I'm right back to the starting point, back to my first love, and saying he's always been the treasure. He's always been my inheritance. He's always been my award and reward. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
He's always been my riches. He's always been my wealth. And so that's what Man of War is. It's literally talking about God, fighting our battles, intercession, man, worship. Man, that's that is what Man of War is about. It's about me understanding the greatness of Christ and the fact that I'm walking with Him every day.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's amazing, man. And it's funny because we also talked about before, for those who don't know, we've had a lot of conversations over the years. We also talked about what you just mentioned, which was the style of music that you started really bringing on the scene. It wasn't really a lot of artists like you, because I remember when I got saved in '98, and so I was obsessed with music. I mean, I'm a Christian DJ now. I still am, but I was just obsessed with just some real carnal music and things like that. And so as I got saved, and I know that was one of the things that I just really needed to let go, was just the carnal sounding music and things like that. So I was like, Lord, okay, I don't even know where to start, as far as, because I still to this day, I'm not a really big fan of churchy stomp clap music. Right. And so I like the Christian R&B type of jazzy type of feel to it. And back in 04, 05, there wasn't hardly any. I mean, there's a lot of Christian rap was still real big on the scene.
It was.
Cross movement and 116 was starting to grow, and things like that. Tunnel Rats and things like that. There was a lot, huge on the Christian rap scene.
Amazing,
but it wasn't a lot of just soulful Christian music. Adrian Archie was out around that time. I was still a big fan of her music, and I was just like, man, I need a list. I need a nice playlist of artists. And so I don't even know how I started just looking around, maybe on YouTube or something like that. I don't know where it was.
YouTube wasn't even out then, barely out.
It was barely out,
maybe 6 months old.
Yeah, it was barely out. I don't know what it was. Maybe MySpace around that time. MySpace, right? And I came across you, and I started listening to your stuff, and this is Days of My Life, 2005. I was like, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And I was like, yeah, since then, I was like, okay, yeah, this is it. Finally, I found something that fits like my my love, the type of style of music that I love, but now the music is geared toward Jesus now, so that's what I found out. So what was the whole idea behind Days of My Life in 2005, and what kind of gave you the go ahead to even start releasing music?
Well, I first started doing my first stuff came out in '99. So
you was working with Tyler Perry, right?
That was afterwards. So my first stuff came out. I was doing kind of music, kind of like mine, and I was doing some Christian love songs, and then eventually, I left the company. That was with an independent company, and then I left and moved to Nashville, out of Houston, and then ended up meeting people there, and ended up meeting some producers. Met Tobymac in a parking lot at Forefront. And Toby was, I would say, Toby is who introduced me to the industry. Toby, I would say, is the reason why you even know me. Tobymac is the reason why he single-handedly introduced me to the industry and got me in. He didn't do the work for me, but he introduced me, embraced me, and gave me an opportunity to start writing for the Katinas and some other things with Goatee. And it kind of started from there. But man, I've never really told my story publicly, but if people understood, man, they told me I was going to fail from the beginning. Even with the Days of My Life project, I was told by the people I work with that I wasn't going to be commercially successful. I was told that you're 5 years too early. I was told that, hey, what you're doing is it's going to be critically acclaimed, but people aren't going to buy it because gospel music isn't ready for your music. And to sit there and hear the people that I'm working with on my label literally look at me in my eye and tell me that. So a lot of times people saw me, I literally was walking with some depression because I was told this is good music. Gospel people are not going to buy it, and you're not going to be commercially successful, and you're probably not going to hang around here more than one or two albums because this is not going to sell. And that was sobering for me because I never was in it for that, but I ended up understanding that I was in the business. I was in a business. It's a business. And so that's why some people are like, what happened after Days of My Life? Well, I got released. I mean, it didn't sell. Some people said, hey, you should go take them mainstream, let them go open up for India.Arie and Babyface and see if you can create a relationship maybe with Brian McKnight and some of those guys and let him take his sound mainstream. And I remember, and they said, if you take him gospel, he's not going to be successful. And the decision was made to put me gospel anyway. And they were like, so you're taking Antonio into a place where people are buying music with guys with choir robes on and choirs and this whole thing. And how can he be successful in that world? He's going to get drowned out. They're not going to pay attention to him because that's not what they're buying. And Mary was just kind of coming around too. It was at the beginning, and they had that mainstream money behind them. It's a whole, they were coming from a mainstream standpoint. And so, but the beauty of that, even though that was disappointing, I could tell you some stuff, man. It was just, it was just the beauty of that was my relationships that was formed during that time. The beauty of that was the opportunity that I got, even though many of the people didn't believe in me and believe what I was going to be successful. But I got a chance to start writing. And so my music, The Only One, Flashback, Life Worth Living, those songs still came into the market. And that's still a group of people still connected with those songs to this day, still sending me and saying, I'm getting married to the only one, blah, 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 blah. And so even though it wasn't what I wanted to be in other people, it still found its way to people. And even to this day, there are still people that, everywhere. And if I go somewhere or my friends and music, like, man, you have to sing The Only One, and even though to me, that's like 16 years old because we had the song probably a year or two before it was released in 2003. So you're right, that song to me is almost 20 years old. And so, and still to this day, to see the impact it has on people. I mean, I got an inbox from a young lady, was like, I go to sleep with this every night. This brings me back to my right mind. I'm just like, wow. That's nothing, that doesn't go on a sales sheet. That doesn't go on the charts. But somebody to say, this helps deal with, almost like the whole David Solomon thing, playing the harp. This thing helps calm something down in me at night because I can't sleep. And so even though they say it wasn't successful commercially, it's successful spiritually. And also it allowed me, man, to still be around 20 years. I mean, that then 15 years after that project came out, I'm still around, and it made me stronger. And so, that's what I'm thankful for. This whole process has made me stronger, and it backed up the fact that, that is why I wanted to do music. That is why God called me. It wasn't to be that. It was to write songs and to write things that was from the spirit and that was from my heart, and not for commercialism, and not listen to this song. Let me write a song that sounds like that so people want to buy my music. It was like, no, I want to write the songs of the Lord, the songs that Jesus is giving me. You know what I'm saying? That he's given me to talk to people about. And And so I'm glad, man, I made the right choice. And even though I see Jonathan McReynolds and a lot of these other guys coming out later with the guitars and stuff, you know, in my heart, and I've never said it really publicly, I know that I'm a part of the foundation of the success of these artists now that are doing really well. Travis and all of them that I've never met, never talked to any of them, never have had even a inbox or a text message, never have spoken to either one of these guys. But to know that I'm a part of the foundation of what's going well,
yes, sir.
It's a blessing in my life.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
I
man.
know that God, if I wouldn't have stepped out at that time, maybe some of these guys wouldn't not have these opportunities like it did at the time. And so I'm thankful for that.
Oh yeah, man. You definitely laid the foundation. I mean, Jonathan McReynolds is an amazing artist.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Travis Green too.
Any genre music he wanted to do.
Right. Yes. Yes, he sure could. Yeah. But yeah, you're right, man. You laid, you know, you did help lay the foundation of that, you know, and you know, praise God for that. You mentioned Flashback, Life Worth Living. Those were two of my favorite on that CD. Man. I love Flashback. I think when I first
7, 8, 9, 10,
there it is. There it is. I loved it. I loved it. And then one of them was my, and then what was the other album? Because one of my wedding songs was don't tell me it was the song, the instrumental is in my head. I can't think of the title.
To my Praise Life? Or
no.
You talking about Live, Laugh, Love?
That's it. That's it right there. And
Live, Laugh, Love project.
Yeah, Live, Laugh, Love.
Always. You got Always. You have
nope. I love Always though.
Baby, have a seat. That can wait a while.
I love that song. But what was the other one though?
Being a blessing, girl. I deserve.
What was the other one?
Okay, you got Always, and you have man, I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah, what was it?
Everybody young claps.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I ain't been. That's been a while. I think it came out with 08.
You know what it is.
I can find it for you.
Yeah. Happy Lover's Day.
Happy
yes,
Love
that was my joint, man.
Happy Love's Day.
Yes, sir.
Happy.
That was my joint, man. I love that song.
Yeah.
I love that song. That was actually played at my wedding. The instrumental was, and Always, yeah. What song was it that I had you sing that my wife was loved? I think it might have been. I think it was Happy Lover's Day. You sang it at the concert when I brought you here. I think that was it, right? When did Live, Laugh, Love came out? Because I know it came out before my wedding. I got married in 2010. So
2008.
2008. Okay.
Yep.
So I think I had you sing Happy Lover's Day at the concert. It was we were grooving that night, man. Yeah, we were grooving that night. I really loved it. Yeah, man. So let's talk about the Welcome Home. What was that was 5 years ago, right? What was the idea behind that project?
Then I was working at a college called Visible Music College, which is a Christian music college in downtown Memphis, Tennessee. And man, again, I was there and in the middle of doing music. We had a label called Madison Line Records that I was the COO of. And we just decided one day, hey, let's do some music. Let's do some more music. And I had these songs and mess around with my guitar. And me and Kirk Smith, the same one who produced the new project, Man of War, he produced Welcome Home with me. And we just got in the studio and man, and started having fun. And even that project got some songs like the Blood Medley that I love sharing that song. Only Jesus and all that stuff on there, and there's a couple more that I really like. But again, it was just in that mode of I was kind of semi-retired, kind of having a job. Like, okay, I'm gonna coast off into the sunset, and just be run this label at the school, and have fun with that, and start doing music, and it kind of got out there just a little bit, and then life just happened and kind of faded away. Didn't really catch, and I really wasn't committing to get back out here and hit the pavement again. I'm kind of, I had that job, man. I had
Yeah.
that decent job, man. No benefits, bro.
Yeah, your safety net. You was good to go,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? I had that job, man. I was like, hey, I don't have to get on the road. I'm all right.
Right.
Taking care of me at the school, and I go out and do some things, but my heart really wasn't. It was still kind of, healing from the Nashville experience, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew God still wanted me to do music, and I remember there in Memphis, people would ask me to do stuff and come share the music. I mean, I just wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I recorded, but I just would not go. I wouldn't do concerts. I wouldn't go and do these mixer events. I just wouldn't go. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even tell people I was an artist, and I just wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't ready for that. But I was going through that purging thing. You know what I mean? God taking me through that process of getting that out. And I finally understood that, son, this is a calling in your life. You're a psalmist. You're a worshiper. You can't. This is not a career. You really don't have a choice. When it comes to this, you can go out and do all these jobs and do all this stuff, and you're gonna hide all you want. You can go get in the cave, but I'm gonna find you in this cave.
Yes, sir.
And eventually, you're gonna have to just accept who you are and just embrace it with your heart. You went through this industry thing. You went through the business, you learned from it, you gained a lot from it. Okay, you can say you've been there, you've done that, but what does that have to do? What does those disappointments in the industry have to do with your love for me and what I called you to be?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? That's a whole different. What does that have to do with us, Antonio? God, I feel like the Lord's like, what does all this have to do with me and you? I was with you before all of this,
right?
And you was writing songs and doing stuff before all this stuff started happening. So why are you allowing that to stop you from doing what I want you to do for me?
Right.
And I finally got to that point where I'm like, that song I got, one of my most favorite songs in the life is a song called All.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, man, Lord, I'm here again, standing in amazement, totally in awe.
Love it.
Of how rich you are in mercy for us all. Mm-hmm. No greater love can I find beyond what I gained in you. You are holy, birthed out of the truth.
Yes, sir.
That's like, and I surrender my all.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Lord, I surrender all.
Yeah.
I don't deserve your love at all. That's where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. God, this is you. It doesn't matter. I don't like him. I don't like that. Man, I heard this one saying one time. It said, man, there's a beautiful flower in the Amazon that no human being has ever seen. But every morning it blossoms and it gives glory to God, and no one has ever seen it. And it's like, what does it matter? As long as you know you was created and the one that created you is happy that you're honoring it with being who he made you to be. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all. So now I'm there, man. I'm there. I'm just Antonio, enjoying the fact that I know that God made me something, and he's gonna always take care of me, whether it comes through a song royalty or he gotta have me in the neighborhood like I used to be with a lady that gave me and my wife some food, and she would call me Big Britches. So in St. Louis, so it don't matter if it's through that or some woman literally walking down the street, Bacon Street in St. Louis, walking down the street, me and my wife trying to figure out how we're gonna eat. And this lady sitting on a stoop in St. Louis saying, "Hey, have y'all eaten?" "No, ma'am." "Y'all got some food in your house?" "We live across the street from her." "No, ma'am." Big Britches. She would never call me by my name, bro. Big Britches, come over here. Made me go into her freezer, man, and get cube steaks out and chicken quarters and food, man, and took care of me and my wife, bro. Lady didn't know me from Adam, just saw me walking down the street. Wow. And so if that's what God wants to do, or meet a man at a church and say, "Why ain't you recording? I'm gonna pay for it." So be it, bro. I'm just gonna keep myself onward before him.
Amen. And my son, my oldest, I have two boys and a girl now. My oldest, Elijah, Joy is still his favorite song. He loves. Yes, he loves. I think I've sent you some videos of years ago. He was like 2 years old. Yeah,
right. I remember that. Remember that. Oh man.
Yep. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was just loves Joy. That's his favorite song, man. So he loves.
Tell him hello for me, okay?
Yes, sir. So let's talk about a bit of a detour. Let's talk about some Kirk Franklin, man. You've
that dude was kind to me the first time I met him. That man was so nice to me, man.
Nice. Well, that's a good way to start it.
Kirk was so nice to me the first time I met him, man. He that man was kind to me.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
I'm telling you, yeah, he did. He said, "Man, my wife is a fan of your music." I remember he told me that. He said, "Man, my wife loves your music." I said, "Kirk," I said, "Whatever." He said, "I'm serious. My wife is a fan of your music."
Did he have
She bought your CD.
Did he have a
I
real
was like,
deep, raspy voice at this time? You're real preachy. My wife is a fan of your music, Antonio. Yeah, man. So listen, Kirk Franklin Dove Awards. You've had some Dove Awards experience from.
I think we freeze up a little bit.
You're good to go. You're good to go. I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Yep. So it doesn't take much to know what's going on with the Kirk Franklin situation. He's boycotting the Dove Awards because of him editing out his speech about a recent person who was killed by a former police officer, unfortunately. And basically, because of TBN editing editing that portion of the actual televised, they do have it on the app. And in the website too, but they edited that part from the TV. So unfortunately, he got upset about that. He said it happened. Right? It happened time before. Yeah, but it happened time before. So because of that, he's boycotting TBN. And then Lecrae jumped on and said that he's doing it too. And I believe Natalie Grant, if I'm not mistaken, jumped on and did it too. So. This boycott with TBN. What are your thoughts about that? And having some Dove Awards experience. What are your overall thoughts on
that? I know Jackie Patillo. She's the president, I believe, right? Of GMA. She's an African American woman. I mean, my thoughts on it is Kirk has a right to do exactly what he's doing. Lecrae has a right to do. Natalie Grant, anybody else has a right to do whatever they're doing. I mean. I look at it like, Kirk doesn't have to say anything about somebody else's situation. And the fact that he stood up and wanted to feel like it was a part of his duty and responsibility to speak about that, I feel, that, man, that's awesome. You have somebody of that stature. As it pertains to the boycott and all that, I mean, I don't know what that means at the end, man, politically and business-wise. I don't know. I haven't been around literally in over a decade. So I don't really know what that means for them, but it stirred up a lot of things. And at the end of the day, you hope people start talking, and you hope that if there's an issue that they can get down to the bottom of it. And, like diversity and having, a voice and being able to talk about things that you care about outside of your music.
Yeah.
I mean, man, entertainment and sports and things of that nature, it gives us an opportunity to talk about things, and it's supposed to bring us together, right? It doesn't. I think sports and music is, man, if God hadn't created sports and music, I don't know where we'd be right now.
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying, bro, without sports and music. And so I think I love it, because if people are really sitting down and talking about the stuff that normally nobody would want to talk about, it's just, I mean, we just ain't going there. You know what I mean? Just want to, if it causes some positive things, then I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Craig, like I said, I don't know these guys personally. I don't have a relationship with them day to day, so I don't know their thinking, what was behind it, the planning, the hate. I don't have any clue. But I'm definitely for positive change.
Yeah,
spiritual Jesus change.
Now, what's been your experience with the GMA Dove Awards?
With the GMA what do you mean experience? I don't. The GMA is a collection of all the artists and producers.
Right, the GMA, the Dove Awards part.
I mean, my one experience, I was there when I got nominated a couple of times. I mean, I had a blast, being Grand Ole Opry, and I remember the first time I got nominated. I think my song "Jesus Will" was nominated for the Urban Song of the Year.
Another awesome song, yeah.
And I remember I was up against Mary Mary. I knew I was going to lose. The Mary Mary Shackles. That's I was like, oh, Lord, okay, right. Thank you, Lord, for this nomination.
Right.
And one of the things I remember from that, DJ Madge was actually the DJ. He was the one doing the music, and we had a song called "Living This Life Under Pressure," and he played it, and then he also played one of my songs during one of the breaks, and he was just kind of looked at me and kind of nodded. He played one of the songs, kind of doing one of commercial breaks, I remember.
Nice.
And the connection we started building because we did the song Under Pressure from his solo record. And so that I had a great experience. I think I sat beside who was the band I said, but that wasn't Sonic Flood. It was man, I can't think of the name of the group.
Maybe
So one of the
Audio
groups
A.
that was, huh?
Audio A, maybe Audio Adrenaline.
It was a contemporary. It was like a rock band. It started with an S. I can't think of the name of it. They got pretty big. What you said again? My wife just yelled. She said Switchfoot. Yeah, I sat beside.
Oh
Switchfoot.
yeah, Switchfoot. Okay.
And they were cool. And I remember Israel sat up front, and Aaron Lindsay, I think he was there. These guys didn't know me, man. I was a new kid on the block, but it didn't matter, man. I was there enjoying myself. It was a great experience, you know, hanging out with the people afterwards and things of that nature. Like me, man, a little country boy from a little town, less than 15,000 people, and sitting there beside Switchfoot and Israel and Tobymac and Kirk Franklin. And I'm like, man, God, what am I doing here? And I'm thankful that he put me there, because people don't know that, you know, less than 5 years before that, I was a janitor working at a paper mill. I was the number 220 something. I was the last person on the totem pole out of 200 and something employees. I was the guy who was the street sweeper. I had me a little sweeper machine, and I had a little broom. I had to sweep sawdust. And I had me a little beat up F-150 truck, and I had to go and empty the trash cans and on the property. And so God started giving me songs while I was the janitor, aka the custodian of this at this paper mill, man. And one day I got a better job at the plant, and I was loading 2x4s, 2x10s into rail cars to get shipped out to like Lowe's and Home Depot. And one day I was eating lunch, and I said, I'm not going to come down. I'm just going to stay on top of the rail car. I'm going to sit on top of the rail car to eat my lunch, and cars passing by. And I heard so clear in my heart, I'm going to take your music around this world. And I'm like, who's that talking to me? I'm going to take your music around this world. And I'm literally carrying little notepads, put them in my little work shirt, my little pocket right here, my little pad pocket. And I heard I'm going to take your music. And that's why I had never recorded, man. I didn't have a song. I was writing stuff and poetry, but I didn't have anything recorded. Yeah. And I heard I'm going to take your music around the world. Wow. I mean, I didn't know anybody. I was in a little bitty town, 10,000 people, just finished playing basketball, got injured, pretty much was just depressed again because I couldn't make it in my basketball career. And I'm just working at this plant, stacking 2x4s and stuff, man. And God, it came true. What I heard in my heart came to pass. And the other day I was looking on Spotify, and I was reminded of it, man, because people were listening to my music in like the Philippines and in the Netherlands and Australia and Brazil and Cambodia and China and Japan. And they're just sitting like, man, I'm just a little country dude, man, who's working in a paper mill, who's, you know, picking up trash, man. Yeah. And God, you allow these songs that you put in me to find its way into the world, man. It's just amazing, bro. Yes, it's just totally amazing.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's crazy how just at the most unexpected moments, God speaks so clear to you, man. It just and you know, and it's just like, you know, I've experienced that many times, and it's just like I've learned, and I've really I mean, I've read the Bible. I read the Bible. I have a master's degree in theological studies that I got in 2013. But for the past like 2 or 3 years, God has really been speaking to me a lot through His Word, like so clearly through stories and things like that. He told me a few years ago. He said that every single book you read in the Bible has a meaning and a purpose to it that leads to me. And I'm like, man, every time I read the Bible now, that's my intent when I read it. And I've been reading a lot of the Old Testament again. And I'm in the book of Samuel. Just got finished reading Judges. Just got finished reading a bunch of the minor prophets. And when I read those books, I see just like the most inopportune, unexpected time. Boom. God has like a simple, very very purposeful, intentful word for someone. And unfortunately, it's, some of the judges and some of the people decided to rebel against that, at time.
Right.
But it's like that still doesn't take away the power of God having a word for someone, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
like, man, I think when you talked about that story and the things that has happened in my personal life, that God has spoke to me. I've shared this testimony kind of with some people. There was a time when I was 18, and I had a relationship. I still got a good relationship with my mom. I actually talked to her today, and there was a time that we had a really rift in our relationship, and I moved in with another family member, and they had an unfurnished basement, and it was no concrete. It was no. It was like a beat up bed that just had no sheets or anything on it. And I was in 19, and it was crazy because I had a place to stay. That was my place to stay for the summertime, and I stayed there. And that was one of the times when I was like, it was like one of those, it was like one of those those Joseph moments, right? When he went to the pit, and man, it was just so clear. It was. I read that was the summer, I believe, like 2000, 99, 2000. Read the entire New Testament and journaled every single day about that.
Wow.
And God was just speaking to me so clearly in the deepest, darkest moments, of my life, when I was just like, man, I don't know what. I was like 2 years old, saved. Wow. Like it was one of those moments like, okay, so I'm committing my life to you, God, but I'm only 2 years old in this thing. Wow. And I wasn't expecting it to look like this, and I wasn't expecting it to be. I was expecting like rainbows and butterflies and all that good stuff. And,
no, sir.
And I was
no,
like,
sir.
And God was like, you know what? I have the ability to do that for you, but I want you to understand how amazing I am through you. You know what I mean? Wow. And it's like, I don't want you to get any type of glory in this when I'm about to show out. And wow. I think, and when I hear you say that your story of that too, that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, God's probably telling you, hey, look, I got something amazing for you, and I want you to be in a position that you're like, this was nobody but God. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I had no credit. I have no credit about this. And there's been so many moments in my 21 years of living for Jesus that he's put me in positions where he's like, okay, I want you to understand that this is nobody but me. Right. And so, and I think the more you mature in the faith, the more you realize, the more you should be always in a position of, man, I'm not going to let my ego, get in the way. And I encourage you with that too, man. Just the times that you felt, depressed, and that you felt in moments that you're like just kind of doubting and worrying and just kind of reevaluating. Man, God puts you in a position to say, you know what, I'm about to shine. So boom, here comes Men of War. So man,
that's right,
my brother. Yeah, man. So yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate your new project. I've been bumping it, and Man of War, man, is awesome. Let the listeners know where they can find it, man.
Pretty much anywhere you buy your digital music. So Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Play, Tidal. I mean, just anywhere your favorite digital retailers. That's where the music is. Nice. iHeartRadio. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's address a couple of these questions before we take off. We got Under the Mat Radio saying, who are your three biggest musical inspirations?
Al Green, Commission, and probably Isley Brothers.
Okay.
Fred Hammond may be 3B.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, well, he kind of fought. Well, I guess he's including the Commission, so that works.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I'm going on in the name.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Reaching for my goal, my turn. Anyway,
yeah. Man, Fred, man, he just seems like he's gonna be like 200 years old.
He's the man.
Playing the bass somewhere.
Fred is the man.
Yeah,
Period.
he's incredible, man. They just came to my town recently, so
Wow.
it was awesome. Another question: who in the Bible do you relate to the most?
Woo-hoo. Wow. That's a good one. I can say who I want to be like the most, Jesus.
Mm,
Um,
amen.
but relate to the most, maybe David.
Okay, that makes sense.
I can see, David in some areas. Yeah, I can say David.
Hmm. Awesome.
Mhm.
All right, man. Any other closing thoughts before we go, man? I really appreciate your time with me tonight.
Yes, sir.
For this to be your first one, it definitely doesn't seem like it. You
Yeah.
did a fantastic job, man, and
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Any closing thoughts, man?
Just want to say thank you to you. Thank you to everybody over the years that may watch this or watching right now that have been a part of the journey. They don't know, you guys don't know I hadn't said anything, but everything that we're releasing, we released actually 4 projects last week. So Man of War instrumentals. I also did the Psalms project with my middle son Chris, and also something called Not a Love Song. So whenever you purchase and support our music, man, you're actually helping me. It's not going to somebody else. It's actually our family company
Nice.
and the ministry. So when you invest in the music that you see with my name on it, this new stuff from Live, Laugh, Love, up to all the stuff now, you're supporting what we do, allow us to do more music and more ministry. Eventually, I want to do the whole spoken word, the New Testament with, if you see that project with the music behind and with the word of God. So whenever you invest in our music, you're investing in us continuing on this journey. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's played it, the only one at a wedding, or to anybody that's just shared the music, just anybody that saw something about me and said, you know what, I hope this guy is successful. If you pray for me and my family, it's a big deal. So I just want to say thank you to everybody.
Awesome, my man.
Yeah.
You want to close out with letting the listeners listen to Man of War a little bit?
Let's go, man. Let's do it.
All right, man. Let's
Thank
do
you.
this. Let's do this. Yes, sir. And you can just share your thoughts, man, however you feel about it, and what made you say whatever. And so yeah, let's I think they can hear it, so let's do it. You hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Check out Man of War, y'all.
He's a man of war, man of war. The Lord is a man of war. He's a man of war, man of war. The Lord is a man of war. He'll fight your battles while you sleep. He will scatter the enemy. The Lord is a man of war. And he will break every yoke. You'll make it better than before. The Lord is a man of war. He's a man of war. He'll fight for you. War. The Lord is a man of war.
You can sing if you want to as well. You could ad lib if you want to.
Huh?
I said you could ad lib if you want to.
You'll fight your battles when you're weak. The joy of the Lord is your strength. The Lord is a man. Yes, He is. He will break every soul tie, evicted off of your life. The Lord is a man. He's a man. Lord is a man. Yes, He is a man of war. Oh, Lord, is a man of war. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to lift a finger. Oh no, you're children of the kingdom. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to lift a finger. Oh no, you're children of the kingdom. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to lift a finger. You're children of the kingdom. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight, you don't have to fight. You don't have to lift a finger. You're children of the kingdom.
That's my DJ Scratch. I gotta listen to the rest of it. Buy it. Buy the rest of it. Purchase on Amazon. Buy his stuff, y'all, man. That's support my dude.
Appreciate it.
Listen, that was only half the song, by the way. So if you like that flow, man, there's another half that's even just as blessed as that one, and there's a bunch of other songs for you to purchase too. So go check it out, Amazon, whatever music music avenue, music platform you choose. But yeah, go support my man. So, my brother, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much for spending time with me tonight, man. Thanks a lot, bro.
No worries.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later, my brother. All right. Peace.
Peace.